Hello, viewers, and good morning, and welcome to this special series where we've been discussing the aftermath of the coup in Niger Republic. I am Umar Ahmad Abubakar, and to discuss the issue as usual today also, I have Umar Farouk Ahmed. Umar, good morning and welcome.
Good morning, Umar, and thank you for having me in the program.
Okay, we've been discussing the aftermath of the coup in Niger Republic following the July 26th ouster of President Mohamed Bazoum. Today on the program, we'll be beaming our searchlight on the partnership the junta is seeking, following as reports indicating that the junta is inexperienced in politics and security, which is leading them to seeking partnership with some international collaborators. And then we'll be looking at the impact of this collaboration to the generality of the population in Niger Republic. Farouk, let me start by asking, there are reports that the junta is seeking partnership with some mercenaries, especially Wagner mercenaries. What do you have to say about this?
Well, thank you so much. You see, first of all, let's go back a little and look at the previous partnership that Niger had on security. Previous Niger had a partnership with the EU, which was signed in 2012 on a security partnership. And just all of a sudden, after the military takeover, they began repealing some both economic and military partnerships that it had with its former partners. On the part of the security partnership, one of the reasons that is perceived for the coup is that former President Mohamed Bazoum was too much aligning himself with the West. And if you look at the recent coups happening in West Africa, where the countries were former French colonies, immediately the military takes over. One of the first things they do is to sever the ties between them and France or the EU. So it's like they are blaming Western Europe or France for what is happening in their country. So that is why they are always quick to sever ties between themselves and their former colonies or West Europe entirely. Now, coming back to your question, it's an actuality, not even an allegation. They've aligned themselves with the Wagner mercenaries, and that's happened since in August, when Niger was given a deadline to return to democratic rule, and they've jumped about 3 or 4 deadlines, about 2 or 3 deadlines. They've already jumped them, and nothing has actually happened. So I believe that deadline was so severe that they sought international, military partnership, and so they sought a partnership with Wagner mercenaries, probably to protect the country in case of any external incursion. And that was about the time when the chairman of ECOWAS, Bola Tinubu, was pressured to use ECOWAS military force to invade Niger and force them. And that was actually an option on the table, use of military force to force Niger the junta to relinquish power to a civilian government. But that didn't happen. So there were 2 options, either military force or diplomacy. And evidently the chairman went with diplomacy, though he said the military force was actually an option. So as it is currently, they have an alliance with Wagner forces, which is we can say is an offshoot of Russian army.
Okay, Farouk, from what we are seeing, the junta is inexperienced in politics and security also. And then the effect is, when they are seeking the alliance of or support of these collaborators, maybe the collaborators or those giving them support will seek anything in return, which the junta must also offer to them. Niger is rich in uranium. Don't you think this will be an avenue for these collaborators? For example, Wagner, though it's also an allegation to be siphoning the uranium or something of that nature?
You see, it's out in the open. It's like when they seek this alliance, they know that, of course, Wagner must get something in return when they're seeking the alliance. Even not only Wagner mercenaries, even if you seek an alliance with a country's military, that country must also get something in alliance. Like no country will do it out of the good of their heart. Maybe perhaps in the minute will jump out to where they're seeking partnerships with other countries. So the Wagner, they have to be paid, of course. So they take several modes of payment. Sometimes they accept actual cash as payment, and you can also pay them in kind, because since they're a mercenary and they have the Russian backing, which is also a military superpower in the world, and Russia uses them for some of their off-the-books dirty laundry. So the government could turn a blind eye. Let's say you're asking them to protect maybe some mining sites for you. Of course, since their fighters are ex-prisoners, so they're people who have committed a crime, you don't actually expect them to now have a ton of heart and protect those mines with the sincerity of God in their hearts.
And then
of
in
course,
some cases,
they will siphon these mineral resources. Either
and then some are even accusing the machineries of human rights abuses.
Yeah, those mercenaries have been there's a lot of allegations on them of there's an allegation of mass murder in Mali, where they've and it was alleged that they mass murdered over 500 people. There's allegation of rape and human rights abuses on the Wagner mercenaries operating in Central African Republic. They're operating in about 6 or 7 African countries, and although there is no distinct allegations of them of human rights abuses in Niger, but it's just a matter of time, because that's their mode of operation. They siphon mineral resources either with the knowledge of the host country or not, but that's how they operate, and you can't stop that human rights abuses that they do, because they don't play by the books. They are not conventional soldiers. They are ex-prisoners, most of them, or retired soldiers.
So with all these things, where is Niger heading to? Since the military, if you are inexperienced in security or politics or even holding to power, you overthrew a democratically elected government, and then you are of no good than the administration or the government you overthrew. Where is Niger heading to now?
Well, you can demarcate Niger into 2 parts. First of all, it's rich in mineral resources, very, very rich mineral resources, and you can say that Niger is a country too rich to be poor, and also too poor to be rich. But in terms of human development or human capital development, they are really doing bad. So like they have the mineral resources, but they are yet to harness it. Now, part of why they overthrew Bazoum, or part of why you have most of these schools in West African countries, is that they always allege either the government of the day of squandering the mineral resources, or not being able to harness them, or allowing foreign governments to harness those mineral resources. Now, if they overthrew Bazoum because of that, because they feel that they have a lot of mineral resources and they're not being harnessed and they're too poor to have those kind of resources, and then they're now employing Wagner mercenaries, which are known for squandering those minerals, because you can employ them to protect mining sites or oil drilling sites, and now they're known for exploitation of the host country's mineral resources. So if you overthrew Bazoum because he couldn't harness those resources, and now you have the mercenaries protecting your country, and you have those resources, what assurances do you have that they won't also squander those resources? It's zero. So if they continue like that using those mercenaries, there's every possibility that they will also begin to squander those uranium and other mineral resources that they have.
Okay, what is call to the junta now? Because I think some few months back, after the coup, when reports emerged that the junta is looking at ways to collaborate with the Wagner machineries, I think France warned that anywhere you see the presence of Wagner, there must be serious security threat or insecurity in that zone. What advice do you have for the junta now to play caution with the Wagner machineries?
Well, if they must use external military personnel to protect their country, if you can remember, during former President Goodluck Jonathan, there was also the call for maybe an option to use mercenaries to fight Boko Haram, but that was kicked out by National Assembly. So if you must use a foreign military asset to protect your country, use that of a real country, not Wagner mercenaries, because it's out in the open. This is how they operate. And the best advice, I believe, is just for them to return to a democratic government. Like, there's no better option than that, and to return to a democratic government, because they've already repealed a military partnership that is signed with the EU in 2012. They repealed it just early this month, and they've already welcomed a delegation from Russia. The General Modi, who is the Niger foreign minister, announced that they have repealed that military partnership they have with the EU, and they also welcomed a Russian delegation. So the best option for them is just to negotiate a better deal with either ECOWAS or the international community for a safe exit, probably an exile to a different country, and then they install a democratic government, preferably by the former president, headed by former President Mohamed Bazoum,
okay,
or
lastly,
they conduct a fresh election.
Lastly, before we go, Farouk, France has been supporting Niger and its former colonies in fighting terrorism, but French troops are out of France now. Do you think there is a possibility, or they will at least help when they are back in fighting these terrorists in the entire Sahel region?
Well, except if Niger goes back to a democratic government, because France had about 1,500 military personnel, army, foot soldiers in Niger, and after the coup occurred, the junta asked them to leave. Although Macron was not willing to withdraw his troops, but evidently they had to leave Niger, 1,500 of them. So there's what we call crime of opportunity. You have 1,500 of your troops withdrawn from, like, sophisticated troops withdrawn from your country. So that's a security deficit. So it creates a window for insecurity to happen. If, for instance, now within that region, you already have Boko Haram militants operating, and then there's a deficit of 1,500, they could decide to launch new attacks into your country. So the only way that France can go back to help Niger is if they are on good terms. That is, if there's now a civilian government, because no country wants to be signing partnerships with a military government, because you can wake up one morning and say, okay, I don't want this, then you just repeal the law. So except if they are with a civilian government, where there's a bureaucratic process to follow before repealing or enacting a new law or new partnership, that's the only way that France can go back to Niger.
Okay, listeners and viewers, I think that's much we'll take on this short discussion, where we've been discussing the aftermath of coup in Niger Republic. And today we are looking, or we looked at the impact of our collaboration with some foreign forces or foreign collaborators, as reports are imagining that the military is not incompetent of managing the affairs of the country, both security and politics. On behalf of my colleague Umar Farouk Ahmed, thank you very much for being part of our discussion.
Thank you so much for having me.
I am Umar Ahmad Abubakar saying thanks for being there.